Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classics slash non-classic. This is episode number 487 and the 400th Doubleshot. Yep, 400 Doubleshot. As of right now, 13 episodes to go after this one, until I reach episode 500 this very series. Okay, got two Spider-Man trades. First up, it's Spider-Man 2099, Volume 6, Apocalypse Soon. This is the second to last trade to collect issues from this volume, well, basically of the new era for 729. Yeah, why did I say second to last volume? Because the thing ended after issue 25. Now, overall for the whole series, for these 5 issues in here, let's see, how many issues is that? It's these are issues 73 to 77 of Spider-Man 2099. And this continues the storyline with the whole thing with the fist. And yes, as you can see in the cover, Elektra makes an appearance in here. And this is by far one of her handful of appearances. I think this was her second, this was the appearance that she made just before she got her brief new ongoing series. Yeah. The one that got canceled, only publishing 5 issues, and the main villain of that series was Arcade. And she's wearing her Netflix costume. I don't mind the change of costume. It's just that, why couldn't she keep the bandana? I don't know. But yeah, this is all about basically Spider-Man 29 working with Elektra. Basically, these two had never met each other before. When Elektra basically took her side and stabbed right through his suit, she thought he was going to get skinned. Nope. Basically, his actual suit that he wears, his Spidey suit. And it's interesting though, she's never met before, and it's so cool. And also, Mountain Man Marco returns for I think for the first time in a few trades that he's actually shown up. Yeah. Also, Tobias Stone. I think it's Tyler Stone, the Miguel's father. First time since I think the Spider-Verse issue he's actually shown up. Yeah, first time since Spider-Verse actually showed up in here. And, of course, basically, Miguel also works with Captain America 29. Now, this I do like. Okay, it's like, yes, you have the new volumes, but also, in the back, we have the classic volumes, which I'm so happy they finally put, like, a starting point for this in here. And, this right here is the most recent volume that come out. I think for the issues, for the trades to collect the first volume for this series, I think there's about 3 volumes left. Yeah, actually, I think it's about 2, maybe 3 volumes to go. It just depends what Marvel wants to do, because I think with the most recent trade that came out, I think they got to issue, I think it was like 32, so they got roughly about 12 issues left to go for the entire run. This, one more trade left, but overall for the entire series, I think there's about 3 or 4 trades left to go to collect the rest of the whole series, which is good, the fact of doing this. The issues in here are really, really good. Now, the writing here is done by Peter David, now worked by Will Seeley, who has pretty much been the artist a majority of the time, with the exception of a couple issues of the previous volume, which is done by Rick Lombardi, who was the creator of Spider-Man 29. Now, Rochelle Rosenberg, basically, that's the other name on here. She is the colorist for this particular series, and I love this cover. It's, let's see, who does the cover for this thing? The cover is done by Francisco Matina. Yeah. I mean, yes, they do put in here Spider-Man created by Stanley Stedico, but they should also give a credit for Miguel in here, basically because he was created by Peter David and Rick Lombardi from, well, yeah, they should get credit for Miguel himself as well. And Elektra should get credit, basically, whenever she shows up in a trade. Yeah, that's just my honest spin on the matter. This book is good. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Alright, next up is Spider-Man, Revenge of the Green Goblin. Collecting Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 2, which I think these are issues, well, if you have the issues from the previous volume, let's see, because that one ended to 441. These are 461 through 469 of the actual series. 2 issues of Peter Parker Spider-Man, Volume 2, issues 25 and 29. The 3-issue miniseries Spider-Man Revenge of the Green Goblin, and annual 2001. I think this is Yeah, this is annual number 30. This is the 34th annual of the series. Now, the Revenge of the Green Goblin stuff only takes up of this trade just the 3-issue miniseries and 1 issue of both the 25th issue of the volumes for second volume for Amazing Spider-Man and the Epic Spider-Man. Issue 29 is in here because that's part of a 3-part story where it starts with Amazing Spider-Man 29 and continues Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2 number 29 continues in Peter Parker Spider-Man Volume 2 number 29 concludes in Amazing Spider-Man Annual, basically dealing with return of Mary Jane Watson. Now, I would have thought that issues 2020. I would have thought that would collect. I thought maybe they would have another volume of the next chapter of the Spider-Man Next Chapter trades. Apparently, they stopped doing those, so they released this instead. But at least with this trade, the entire second volume of Amazing Spider-Man is entirely in trade. Now, besides the Revenge of Spider-Man issues, basically you also got a now the rating in here for the most part for pretty much all the issues in this entire trade, except for I think it's 2 issues, I believe it is, are all done by Howard Mankey. Roger Stern does the Revenge of the Green Goblin series. Paul Jenkins does issue 25. Yeah, issue 25 of Amazing Spider-Man. Of course, he also does Peter Parker Spider-Man. Now, Eric Larson does the opening 3 issues in here, while majority of the artwork here is done by John Romita Jr. or even Lee Weeks. The other artists are Ron Fritz and John Bennett, Charlie Allard, and Mark Buckingham. Now, Larson does the first 3 issues. He does issues 20 to 22. Yeah, that's all his. This is all his artwork. Yeah, this is all Eric Larson's artwork. Let's see. I think it was beginning with issue. I think it was it 22? Yeah, I think it was 22. Yeah, 22 is the first one that features. This is actually the first issue that John Romita Jr. does via artwork wise, and he does this for a long ass period of time. I'm not kidding. The thing with John Romita Jr. is he's one of those. He basically has done this book on and off for many years. I'd say since the 80s. It's kind of the same thing with a Uncanny X-Men. But issue 22 is the first one he does here. And he does most of the issues in here. Yes. Let's see. He pretty much does it for issues 22 to 27. Yeah, that's all. This is all his artwork. Let me give you a good example of this guy's artwork. Yeah, here's his depiction of frickin' Venom. Yep. Yeah, and this is all him. Yeah, there's stuff with Venom in here. Let me give you a picture here. This is how he draws the character the Ringer, and he's actually one of the very few Spider-Man villains, pre One More Day, who actually does know the Peter Parker Spider-Man. And he found out because he followed him. Yep. Yeah, basically you have a few loosely connected issues, and then but the first 3 issues of John Romita Jr.'s run are simply put a 3-part where the conclusion is actually a tie-in to the crossover at Maximum Security, where Spider-Man the Ringer, Arthur Stacy, and Jill Stacy take on this guy and these alien called the Zox. The Zox basically they don't put the editorial in here for some reason. But I remember from reading online that when this issue, and of course this is online, that how should I put this? That when during the period of time when Charles Xavier came back to life, when Neil Adams, then Neil O'Neill on the book, they revealed that these aliens, basically, which were going to invade the planet, but basically was driven off. Yeah, but the storyline is called Distinguished Gentleman from New York. That's what this 3-parter is called. 25 is just a tie-in to Revenge of the Green Goblin. Basically, Revenge of the Green Goblin kind of details what he'd been up to. This is, of course, prior to his meeting up with him in Amazing Spider-Man 25. It's just basically these 3 issues are just what he'd been up to since his apparent death from Amazing Spider-Man 122 up until he showed up during the Clone Saga. Yep, that's really the whole point of these 3 issues. It just basically reveals what he's been up to. Yep. And then, of course, you have that 2-part crossover dealing with the Revenge of the Green Goblin, which took place, looked like a period of like a month. Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like to me. And then for the next 3 issues in here, Buckingham does the artwork for, let's see, I think Buckingham does the art for Amazing Spider-Man 25. Yeah, I think he does do that one. Let me check and see here. Yeah, it's a long issue. I appreciate the fact that they actually did get made a long issue. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can find the edit the notes here. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, basically he did issue 25. Yeah, then pretty much we have stuff, and then pretty much for the next 3 issues, it's just dealing with the aftermath of that storyline, while dealing with a standalone, basically dealing with this character called the Squid. No, I've never heard of this guy before, and I like, okay, never really much of this guy at all. Yeah, this is the Squid. Not a very known Spider-Man villain, but yeah. Simply put, for the next 3 issues, up until issue 29, it's just basically 3 standalone issues. Also, for some reason, yeah, this happened. Yep, a page turned on the side. It's drawn good, but I'm not sure why Jeremy Jr. did this for, where you had to people had to basically read this issue on its side. Yeah, but out of all the issues, it looks like this one he took its time with. Yeah, some of his issues basically, Jeremy Jr. has been frequently accused of rushing these issues out, basically churning out these blocky artwork characters. Oh look, here's another time basically he does this. This is also the very same issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also with Jimmy 6, who I believe gets killed off in these issues. Mm-hmm. And then pretty much with 28, this is simply put a prelude issue into this 3-part storyline that basically involves the return of Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, it turns out the reason why, where she's been hiding since basically her parent death when a plane exploded. Yeah, apparently Mary Jane Watson has got a stalker. Yep, a man who's been obsessed with her, and then simply Peter basically beats the crap out of him. And then, of course, it takes a few rounds, but he does eventually beat him, and he goes off to jail, and of course he's never seen again in the comic book. Mary Jane goes to the hospital, and of course people recognize her because she's a famous model. Yeah, these issues are good. I think also, as far as I can tell, Arthur Stacy, and Jill Stacy, I think these two get dropped from the Spider-Man comic books right after, just before the Revenge of the Green Goblin story. I think it's just after Howard Mankey stopped being the writer of Amazing Spider-Man that these two characters are dropped from the book. So basically, there's no more Stacys. Yeah, they've been dropped from the comic book. As far as I can tell, I remember reading issues from issues 30 to 50 up until present day, the Arthur Stacy and Jill Stacy do not show up at all. Yeah. Also, the Ringer, the original one that shows up in here, yeah, he gets killed by aliens, and he's never seen again. Yeah, he's a Howard Mankey character. My guess is Howard Mankey was basically trying to wrap up basically. Now, it's kind of like up until, for the last 3 issues, basically, up until the Revenge of the Green Goblin stuff, you kind of felt as though this is starting to wrap up his run, but because of the whole thing, he had to okay, I got the majority of my run with these 3 issues. Okay, but I also have 25 be my part 1 of my crossover with Peter Parker, which is by Paul Jenkins. Paul Jenkins, prior to doing Peter Parker Spider-Man, actually at the same time he did this, he did the second volume for Inhumans. This one was 12 issues. It's actually a pretty good series. This is also loosely for the basis of the Inhumans TV show. As far as I can tell, for that, remember that scene from episode 1 where Medusa gets her head shaved? Yeah, that's taken from that very comic book. And I think they used an actual razor for that. Yeah, I think so. The issues in here are good. Despite Jeremy Jr.'s artwork, I'm not really a big fan of his, but I think his artwork is okay for some issues. But he was on this book for a long time. I am not kidding about this. He was here as the artist, basically from issues 22 to 27. I have a document to pull this up. 22 to 27, 30 to 58, 500 to 508, 560 to 573, 584 to 585. Basically on and off from the period of 2003, 2004, and it came back for 2008, 2008. Basically, he was on here for a long time. But the writing here is great by Howard Mankey. It's Howard Mankey, Roger Stern, and Paul Jenkins. 3 really good writers. Good story. I just kind of wish they would finish collecting the Peter Parker Spider-Man series. I mean, yeah, you threw in Spider-Man 29, Peter Parker Spider-Man 29, not issue 29. I just kind of wish they would finish collecting the issues, because as far as most of Peter Parker Spider-Man Volume 2 has been collected except for a handful of issues. Yeah, they just need like 1 more issue. So yeah, I give this book a 9 out of 10. Yeah, also the Enforcers and the Spire Slayer show up in here as well, which is really good. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be episode 488 and Doubleshot number 401. Where I'm going to talk about 2 Teen Titans traits. Okay, until then, I will see you there. Bye.